Welcome, history enthusiasts, to another thrilling journey through the annals of time. Today, we unravel one of the most fascinating tales of rise and decline, the fall of the Roman Empire. Buckle up and get ready to witness the end of an era that shaped the world as we know it. The Roman Empire, a civilization that ruled for over 1,000 years, stretching from the British Isles to the sands of North Africa, from the Iberian Peninsula to the Middle East. It was a beacon of power, culture, and innovation. But even the mightiest empires fall. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the fall of the Roman Empire. How did one of the greatest civilizations in history crumble? What happened to bring it down? And what lessons can we learn from its decline? To understand the fall, we first need to see what made Rome so powerful in the first place. By the 2nd century AD, Rome had become the largest empire the world had ever known. At its zenith, it controlled an area of about 5 million square kilometers, home to an estimated 70 million people. The Romans had perfected governance, military strategy, and infrastructure. Their roads, aqueducts, and public baths were marvels of engineering. At its core, Rome was a military powerhouse. The Roman legions were unmatched, and their discipline and organization allowed them to conquer, maintain, and defend such vast territories. But as we'll see, that very strength would eventually contribute to its undoing. Despite its glory, cracks began to form in the foundation of the Roman Empire long before it fell. The seeds of decline were sown in the 3rd century AD, during a period known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century. Rome faced internal chaos, economic collapse, and a string of weak emperors who were unable to hold the empire together. Rome was stretched thin. The empire faced constant barbarian invasions from the north, Visigoths, Vandals, and Huns, and from the east, the Persian Sassanids threatened the empire's borders. Meanwhile, political instability was rampant. Emperors were constantly overthrown, often by their own soldiers. The empire had more than 20 emperors in just 50 years. Some lasted only a few months before being assassinated or murdered in coup. To combat these internal and external pressures, Emperor Diocletian made a radical decision in 285 AD. He split the Roman Empire in two. He created the Eastern Roman Empire, which would later be known as the Byzantine Empire, and the Western Roman Empire. This division was meant to make governing more efficient, but it also sowed the seeds of further conflict. While the Eastern Empire flourished and continued to thrive for centuries, the Western Roman Empire began to weaken. The economy of the West began to suffer, largely due to over-reliance on slave labor, heavy taxation, and rampant corruption. Meanwhile, the rich elite in Rome and Italy grew wealthier, creating a stark divide between the ruling class and the common people. By the 4th and 5th centuries, the Western Roman Empire found itself on the defensive. The Huns, led by their infamous King Attila, wreaked havoc on the borders. But perhaps the greatest threat came not from the Huns themselves, but from the people fleeing before them, the Germanic tribes. These tribes, like the Visigoths, Vandals, and Franks, had been pushed westward by the pressure from the Huns. The Romans, overextended and exhausted, could no longer defend their borders effectively. By 410 AD, the Visigoths, under the leadership of King Alaric, sacked Rome itself, a blow that had been unimaginable just a century before. The Visigoth sack was only the beginning. Over the next 50 years, the Western Roman Empire would continue to fragment. In 455 AD, the Vandals looted Rome once again. And then, in 476 AD, the final blow came. A Germanic chieftain named Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor in the West, Romulus Augustulus, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. But this wasn't just the end of a political entity. This was the end of an era. The fall of Rome marked the end of the classical world and the beginning of the Middle Ages. So, what caused Rome to fall? It wasn't one single factor, but a combination of elements that led to its collapse. Let's break it down. First, there were the barbarian invasions, constant attacks from tribes who sought to take advantage of the Roman Empire's weakening defenses. Then, there was political instability. Rome had no clear succession plan, and civil wars weakened the empire from within. Over time, corruption and economic mismanagement drained the empire's resources. Another major factor was the erosion of civic pride. The once proud citizens of Rome, who had fought for their empire, began to lose interest in public service and military duty. Instead, foreign mercenaries were hired to defend the empire, and loyalty to Rome became diluted. Though the Western Roman Empire crumbled, its legacy lived on. The Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, survived for another 1,000 years. And even after the fall of the West, Rome's influence shaped the future of Europe, especially during the Renaissance. Rome gave us the Latin language, Roman law, architecture, and engineering that still influence us today. In fact, many of the systems of government, infrastructure, and culture that we take for granted in the modern world can trace their roots back to ancient Rome. The fall of the Roman Empire is a cautionary tale of what happens when power, greed, and neglect take their toll on even the mightiest of civilizations. But it also reminds us of the enduring nature of human progress. Though empires fall, their legacies and the lessons they leave behind live on. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. If you found this journey through history as riveting as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more captivating tales from the past. With your help, we can make this small channel grow. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast stories that history has to offer.